and welcome back to the My Zone online school. My name is Marisel Stoffberg, and today I hope you are as ready as I am for all the exciting lessons we have planned. Before we start, please remember to always sanitize our hands. And also remember that our theme for this week is staying active. So even though we need to stay indoors, we can always do our stretches and we can ensure that we move around as much as possible in our houses to stay active. So now let's please jump right into our lessons. So pre-primary and grade 1 learners, I hope you are ready for week 6, lesson 2.
Explanation of symbols on worksheets are as follows. Use coloring crayons to color the picture. Use your finger to follow the track or line or show the correct picture. Use a coloring crayon to draw a line or write a number or sound. Look at the picture and say the number or sound out loud. Use a scissors to cut on the dotted line. Look at the picture. Use these symbols for the lesson of the day, which will be allocated at the top right side of each page. For example, lesson 1. Prepositions and directions.
Welcome to My Zone Online School. My name is Teacher Nitai, and now let's welcome my friend. Today's theme is time. Now, before we begin, let's sanitize our hands. Rub, rub, rub your hands back, inside and forth. Now your hands and mine are clean. We have sanitized. Rub, rub, rub your hands back, inside and forth. Now your hands and mine are clean. We have sanitized. Now let's remember, every time we need to wear our masks and we must maintain our social distance. Today's lesson is the number 6 and time. Now let's turn to page 8. If we look at page 8, we will find there is number 6. And the instruction on top says, color in the 6. I would like to invite my friends to come and demonstrate for me how to color in number 6, starting from the top. Come, my friend. Start from the top. Yes. Well done. Thank you very much. Well done. Now let's carry on to the next part of the lesson on page 9. Let's look and see what is on page 9. We can see there is number 6. And on number 6, it shows us exactly how we are supposed to write number 6. But before we continue with writing, let's count the number of dots that we can see. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 black dots, which represents number 6. Let's look at the apples at the bottom. Let's count the apples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At this time, I would like to invite my friend to take out 6 beads from the container and thread them into the shoelace. Well done. Now take the shoelace and thread the 6 beads into the shoelace. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well done. We have our 6 beads in the shoelace. That was very well done, my friend. Now let's get back to our worksheet, page number 9. I'm going to demonstrate to you how we are supposed to form number 6. When we write number 6, we always start from the top and we go down and round and curly the tummy. We do that once more. We start from the top, we go down and round and curly, and we close the gap. Let's do it once more. We start from the top, we go down, curly around its body, and we go just like that. Well done, boys and girls. That is how we form number 6. Now let's turn to page 10 of our booklet. The instruction that we have right on top of page 10 says, fill in the correct time and choose from the list below. We have all the time listed at the bottom, and it says there, what is the time? We should always remember, if we look at the worksheet, a clock has one long hand, and that long hand is called a minute hand. And we have a short hand, and that hand is called an hour hand. It tells us the number of hours. We are going to learn today about o'clock. How do we read o'clock? Whenever we read the time o'clock, the long hand, which is the minute hand, will be pointing at 12. I will show you on my clock on the board here. The long hand is pointing at 12, and that is the minute hand, and the short hand, which is the hour hand, is pointing at 8. So what time do you think it is? It is 8 o'clock. If I move the hand, the hour hand, what time do we see now? It's 9 o'clock. If I move it over to the next number, what time is it? It's 10 o'clock. Right, let's get back to our booklet on page 10. I would like you to complete the work on page 10. You need to fill in the correct time. The times are written right at the bottom of the worksheet. Let's do our work right now. As you have seen on the big clock on page 10, we now know how to show our clock. Let's move on. Let's turn to page 11 of our booklet. On page 11, the instruction reads, fill in the correct time under each clock. Telling the time is the title of the worksheet. The first clock, as I explained before, the long hand, which is the minute hand, is pointing at 12, and the hour hand, which is the shorter hand, is pointing at 3. So our time is 3 o'clock, and that answer has been completed for you. Now I would like you to complete the rest of the clocks by writing in the time. Now let's turn to page 12 of our booklet and look at the instructions right on top of the page. The instructions reads, count the cakes on the plates and fill in the correct number in the blocks. Now, before we count and fill in the number, remember in our previous page, we practiced how to write the number 6. We need to join the dots of all the numbers that we see on top and continue writing until the end of the page. Once we are done, let's count and find out how many cookies or how many cakes did the queen bake today. We have to count. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now in the block below the picture of the cookies, we need to write number 6. Now continue counting the rest and write number 6 wherever you find 6 cookies on the plate. When you are done, we need to move to the next activity just below the line on the same page, on page 12. And the instruction reads, copy the pattern. We have 6 dots in the first block, and in the second block, it's empty. So we need to copy the pattern. So we will skip the second block to leave it empty and make 6 dots in the third block. And then we look back to the first picture of the dots. We have our 6 dots now. What do we do in the next block? The next block should be empty so that the pattern is exactly the same as the one we did before. Now the next dots, in the next block we have, let's count together and see how many we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 dots in this block. So we need to copy in the next block 5 dots and copy the pattern as it is. And the last one is easy. You need to complete it on your own. Now let's look right at the bottom of the worksheet. It says, fill in the missing number. Let's go to my board. I have a number line on my board. Let's see if we remember how to count. When we count, we always count starting from the left. Let's count the first number, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is how we count. Let's go back to our activity in the booklet on page 12. At the bottom of page 12, now we need to fill in the missing number between 5 and 7. Well done. I'm sure you have figured it out. Now let's move on to page 13 of our booklet. Page 13, it says counting. I will just tell you a very short little story. On the farm, there's a little dog called Bingo. Bingo likes to play with chicks on the farm. He is a very naughty dog. He likes chasing the chicks around. Now, what you need to do, you need to count how many chicks are ever playing with Bingo. Let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many chicks did we find? 6 chicks. Now may you please write the number 6 in the block right at the bottom of page 13. Well done. Thank you for today's lesson. I hope you have enjoyed yourselves. Now let's sanitize our hands. And our little song, rub, rub, rub your hands back, inside and forth. Now your hands and mine are clean. We have sanitized. Rub, rub, rub your hands back, inside and forth. Now your hands and mine are clean. We have sanitized. Now remember, boys and girls, to maintain your social distance and to always wear your mask before you go out. I wonder, where is Zoshi? It's time to say goodbye. Goodbye, Zoshi.
Hi everyone, my name is Zoshi. I'm back. And you can always stay active throughout the lockdown. You can play with your friends, but keep your distance. Like me and my friend. Yay! And you can also jog and sing to be active. Until next time, bye!
Wow, thank you so much, Teacher Netsai, for that great lesson. Today, our pre-primary and grade 1 learners learned all about the number 6 and time. So now it's time, grade 2 and 3s, for your week 6 lesson 2.
Good morning, my learners at home. How are you today? I hope you are well. Are you running around to keep your energy? You have to, because you need the energy to do the exercises and the schoolwork. Good morning, my friend. How are you today? Okay. Welcome to my zone online school. My name is Mrs. Mudabeti. Our theme for this week is local media. Before we start with our topic for today,
we are going to sanitize our hands. And remember, you must keep your social distance from other people of about 1 meter or 1.5. Let us sanitize our hands. Spray it through nicely and rub it in. Rub out and between your fingers. Our lesson for today is problem solving, maths, 2D shapes, addition and subtraction. Let's go to page 8. We are going to do our problem solving them. Problem solving are word sums. So before you start working on the problems, you have to read them and with understanding. Therefore, we are going to start reading the first one and we have to understand. For our level, we are just going to use only 2 operational signs, which is plus and minus, addition and subtraction only. So when you read your problem, what comes to your mind should only be, is it a minus or is it a plus? Is it addition or is it subtraction? So let's read together number 1. On Wednesday, you saw 12 ribbons on one tree and 7 on another tree. How many ribbons did you see all together? Did you understand the statement there? Okay. On Wednesday, you saw how many ribbons? There are 12 ribbons that you saw. And on one tree. And on another tree, how many did you see? You saw 7. Now they are asking you, how many ribbons did you see all together? So what does the word all together means? So that means you get the total number altogether. You plus from the 12 ribbons on another tree, and on another tree you saw 7. Therefore, you plus them together. Do you also remember how we plus? For you to get the quick answer, you have to plus in columns. If you cannot plus with the columns, you can take your stones and count them together. Now let's check if we can plus in columns, how we can get the answer as quick as possible and finish. Okay, we saw 12 ribbons on one tree. You write your 12. And you saw how many on another tree? 7. So the 7 must come under a 2. Remember, do not forget your place values. These are the units, that is the tens. So if a number is alone, it is not a tens. Units are always single, they mean single. So a unit must follow under a unit. Therefore, now you can add your 2 and your 7. You have 2 fingers, you can count your 2 stones, and you have got 7 with a full 5 fingers and a 2. What do you get when you add the 2? So a 2 and a 7, when you add them together, you get your 9, nicely under the units. And what about a 1 with nothing? It's just a 1. So our answer there will be 19. But if you have the stones or the sticks, just count number 12. You put them aside and count 7 on the other side. Then you count them together to get the total. You still get the number 19. But if you feel it's too much to go and pick the stones, just use this method. Are we together? Okay. We are going to read the second one and see what operation sign are we going to use there. Now come with me to page 8 again. Let's do the second one together. Your friends just gave you 12 sparkle markers. Now you have 19. Your friend gave you how many? They gave you 12. And now you have a total of 19. So, how many did you have before your friends gave you 12? How do you know? You were having already the sparkle markers, but you did not count them. So how will you know how many you were having? So What operation sign do you think we can use there? I think we have to take away, because now we have to find out what were you having before you were given the 19. Therefore, you must minus. What do you minus? You minus 19 minus 12. In the same way, if you don't want to use the sticks and the stones, you can use the column way. Let's check how we can use the column way. Now you have 19. So you write your 19 nicely there. You have to take away the 12 which your friends have given you. So you take away your 12. Nicely you write it under there. Remember the units and the tens. They must be separated and be written nicely in columns like that. So now you have your 9 and your 2 in the units. Now you take away 9, take away a 2, you can just use your fingers quickly. 9, take away 2, you fold 2 fingers, and how many is left here? That is 7. So your answer here will be 7. Now 1, take away 1, you only have 1, and if you take it away, what will be left is nothing. Then you just have a 0. So this is the quickest way you can get it if you don't have the sticks and the stones nearby you. So I would like you to do the rest at home. Remember to read them nicely and with understanding, and after that you have now to decide what operation sign are we going to use. Is it a plus or is it a minus? There are only 2 operation signs for this page. Okay. Let's go over to page 9. Grade 3s, come with me to page 9. Grade 2s, if you are done with your problem solving, you are also welcome to join us. It's fine. All right. Okay, we are going to look at the number line. We are going to look at the number line. There are some numbers which are given to us on some points. And some numbers are just indicated to us with arrows, meaning we have to find out what number is supposed to be on a certain point. Now, before we do that, how do we know what number is supposed to be there? We have to find out the sequence in which they are counting. Okay. Now, the first number which is given to us is a 50 on a point which is a bit bolder or a bit black than the other ones, or a bit bigger. Now, there are small points also, the small lines which are given to us. They are also representing some numbers. Now, we have to find out in which sequence or in which order are they counting. Now, when we look at the numbers coming from the first point, second, third, there are 4 small lines there before we come to 50. What do you think they are counting in? Okay, are they counting in 5? Let's try. The first dot being 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, then 25. No, then they are not counting in 5. Can we try 10 perhaps and see if we will get a 50 when we are on the 50? Okay, the first point being 10. Let's count 10, 20, 30, 40, and then 50. So they are counting in 10. Therefore, when you are counting all these dots in 10, you will get to the last number. And that will be easy for you to know which number then is supposed to be in that box, which is indicated with the arrow. So continue counting in 10. When you reach on the arrow, that number, quickly write it in so that you don't forget the number that you have counted. So count in 10 until the end and write for me the answers in the boxes. Are we together? That is easy. Let's continue with the next exercise. On the next exercise, we are going to split the numbers. The answer will be given to us nicely on the middle. Okay. Okay, the first one, the answer should be 9. What 2 numbers should you combine together to get the answer 9? The first one is done for you there. 1 plus 8 is 9. What about 2? What number are you going to add with a 2 to get a 9? If you add a 8 again to a 2, are we going to get a 9? No, you will get a 10, meaning a 8 will be wrong there. So try another number. Let's try 7. If we plus 7 plus 2, what do we get? 9. That is very good. So you put a 7 there. Then you come under also find 2 other combinations of number that can give you a 9 and do the other with the other box. So do the same with the rest. The next one will be 8. Your answer should be 8 on the middle. Find 2 combinations of number that will give you the answer 8. And the 7, the 6, a 5, a 4, a 3, and a 2. In the same way that we got the first one. All right. Now we will continue with the third exercise on the same page. We are going to expand and half the number. So we want to get the half of a number that is given to us. So I'm going to do with you the first one and the third one. The first block there and the third block to get the answer. All right. So how did they get to get the half of 42 being 21? They are telling us that 40 plus 2. How did they get a 40 plus 2? Let's try and check on the chalkboard how we can get that one. Okay, come with me to the chalkboard. I have 42. Now I want to find the half of 42 in an easiest way or in a quickest possible way. So 42, they tell us we first have to expand. Remember, to expand is to decompose the numbers. So now I have 42. If I have to expand it or I have to decompose it, now I have to always go back to the units and the tens and the hundreds, your place values. So I have, how many tens do I have here? I have 4 tens. These are the tens, remember, these are the units. So the tens that I have here, I have 4 tens, meaning 10, 20, 30, 40. So I write my 40 there. Plus, how many units do I have? I have 2 units. Now I have splitted the number, I have expanded. Now after that, now I have to find a half of 40. That will be the easiest way because now a 40 is a 4 and a 0. So what is the half of a 4? Is a 2. A 2 is a half of a 4. So a 0 just comes down. Then 20 plus what? What about a half of a 2? Half of a 2 is 1. So half of a 2 is 1. Are we together? Are we still together on that page? Okay, that is the steps that they have taken there. All right. So now, what is the half of a 20? Half of a 20 is 10. Are we together? Okay, half of a 20 is 10. And half of a 1 is, half of a 1 is half. Okay, so now if we want to find out how many halves are, what is the half of 42? The half of 42, we can just end it here to say it will be, because a 1 will not have a half again, they will not continue. So we'll just end it there to say now 20 plus 1 and then we are done. Then we just say 21. So we can say now a half of 42 is 21. There is nothing left out. Are we together? Okay, so that are the steps that they have followed. So let's try in the third block. How did they get to get the answer 13? What did they do? That is 27. Let me rub out this one and use the same space. Okay, that is 27. And they are telling us the answer is 13 and remainder 1. How did they get a remainder of 1? Remember also, you must follow the same sequence, the place values, the units and the tens. How many tens do we have here? There are 2, so it's a 10, and a 10, that is a 20. That's how they got the 20, which is there. Plus a unit is a 7. That is how they got to the next step. Now, what is the half of a 20? Half of a 20 is what? Is 10. And half of a 7. So a 7 will give us a bit of a challenge. Remember how you can do it with that number. You can draw your line to make a half. This is a half. So you count your 7 and see how many will be on each side. So I'll be counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 7 ends on one side. Remember, it was supposed to be equal, but it's not equal. Meaning what? Therefore, the half here will be, there is 3 here and 3 there. So the half will be 3. And what is remaining is 1. So that one is a remainder. So I'm going to say it's a 3 here and remainder, I can just write it in short, 1. So now I can end it here. 10 plus 3 is what? That is 13. Don't forget the remainder. Don't throw it away. 13, remainder 1. So that is how they get to their answer. Are we together? So I want you to do the rest in the same way. Do not forget your remainder if there is a remainder. If there is no remainder, you can end it without a remainder. Are we together? Okay, thank you. Let's go over to page 10. Grade 2, come with me over to page 10. We are going to look at the mess. We are going to order and compare some objects. Which one is heavy and which one is light. Now, on the pictures that we see on page 10, they are showing us it's a scale, it's a balance, to balance the scale. Now, if the things or if the objects are the same, for example, if I will use this hanger, let me just show you. If I use this hanger, do you see the cups? They are all straight. Meaning what? Meaning this side and that side are the same. They weigh the same. Their heaviness is the same. But if it will go this way, if I put something inside this cup, you see? So this cup will be a bit heavier than the other side, meaning the side which goes down is heavy. Are we together? If it goes the other side, it means something, an object which is placed in this cup is heavier than on the other side. Are we together? So when you look at the scales which are given there on page 10, now, if the first one, for example, is this way, meaning the object which is this side is heavy. So what you have to do there, you have to draw for me the objects showing the scales to show the balance of the scales. If this left side is up, meaning is lighter, so you only have to draw a small object down there falling, hanging from the rope there, from that line going up. And on the other side is down, meaning what? You have to draw for me the biggest object on this side. So you have to compare all the scales there. And the other one is up the other side. So the side which is up, meaning it means what? It means it's lighter. And the side which is down, it means it's heavier than the other side. So if the scale is straight, like the way I was showing, it means the two objects are weighing the same. Then you have to draw the same size of objects on that scale. Okay. So grade 2s, you can do that exercise for me. Enjoy the drawing. Once you are done, we can continue to page 11. That is the quickest one. You just have to draw the different objects. But on page 11, we are going to do a quick revision of the shapes. the two-dimensional shapes. Do you also remember your shapes? If you look at these shapes which are here on this page, will you remember their names? Okay, let me go through with you the shapes just to remind you of them and how do they look and what are their names, so that you are able to identify them when you see them on this picture. Okay, so I'm having here with me some shapes. What is the name of this shape which is here? It's round, nicely colored with blue. What is the name of that shape which is round? It is a circle. Okay, so that is a circle. And which shapes are looking like this one on those houses which are there? And what about this shape? Two long sides and two short sides. Do you still remember its name? It's a rectangle. And this one, nicely in green, all the sides are equal. What is the name of the shape? Do you still remember it? It's a square. Very good. Okay, we also have this one in paper. Nice one. What is that? That is a triangle having three sides. Okay, so now you have learned and you have revised your shapes. Now you can remember them. So you are going to look at these three different objects which are drawn here. And you are going to count for me the shapes and write the number of the shapes that you see there. The first shape there, it's a square. How many squares do you see on this house? You write the number. The second one is a circle. How many circles do you see there? Write the number. Please count them nicely. And the third one is a triangle. How many triangles do you see there? And the fourth one is a rectangle. How many rectangles do you see there? Okay. And after you have done that, you can create the same object, the same house. You can draw the same house on the space which is provided for you. Okay, that was not difficult, was it? It was very easy. I hope you will enjoy your drawings and your counting and the reminding of the shapes. Thank you. Let's go over to page 12. Let's go over to page 12. And the first exercise, we are going to count. The first exercise there is just about counting. We are going to count today from 200 up to 300. Now we are given a number line. Remember, whenever we are given a number line to count on, you must first find out the sequence in which they are counting. Are they counting in ones or in twos or in five or in whatever number? You have to find out. All right. Okay. Our number line starts from 200 up to 300. All the small lines are representing numbers, and the big lines also represents numbers. So the first example they have given us there, the numbers are all here under, but the first example they have given us there on the arrow, they are telling us that on that small line there, the number that must follow there is 209. So the first one on the first line is 200. Now we don't know these lines which are in between. What numbers are they representing? But we are given the other point there to say it's 209. Now we have to find out in which sequence were they counting. Now let's try counting in one. 200, 201, 202, 203, 204, 205, 206, 207, 208, 209. So, without wasting time, we have already figured out that they are counting in ones. Therefore, you have to count in ones, continue from 209, 210, up to 300. Once you reach the line, which is having a box on top, you have to fill in that number so that you know which numbers are there on the lines which are given there. Okay, After counting, we are going to do the other one. The next exercise, we'll do subtraction of numbers. We have to find out the number that is short. This subtraction is a very easy way and is a very quicker one. So I'm going to demonstrate for you 2 exercises on the board and see how do they get to their answer by finding the number which is short. Okay. Let me do with you the ones that I have written on the chalkboard. Okay. Remember your place values again. These are the units and those ones are the tens. Okay. So in this exercise and on this method, what we are going to do is 80 take away 30. These ones are the tens. How many tens do I have here? I have 8. I have 8 tens, meaning it's a 80 already on its own. This one. Let me write with another color. So this one is a 80 on its own. Now what about the number under? I have a 36. A 3 is a 10. So how many tens do I have? There are 3. So that is a 30 on its own. And that is a unit. Now, so now I'm going to take away. Are we together? So what will be 80 take away 30? 80 take away 30. Remember there is a 0 and there is a 0 there. So a 0 will obviously come down. And what about 8 take away a 3? What am I left with? I'm left with a 5. So I'm writing my 5 there. So I have a 50 there. Are we together? Okay. So now I have my 6 here and there is nothing. That is the 0. So what is also short there to make a 0 here? Okay. What is short there is just a 6 so that it can also balance down there. So I'm just having a 6 here alone. There is nothing. So that is the number that is short there. Are we together? And we are minusing. Don't forget the sign. Okay. So now from here, I have to take away 50. Now take away a 6. So now I have broken down my numbers. Now it's easy. 50 take away a 6. Now you can go to your stones. You can count your number of stones up to 50. And you can take away a 6. What will remain will be 44. That 44 is your final answer. Are we together? So this is how we use this method. It's the easiest way. You first have to break down that number to make it only a 50 there, which is easy because it's just having a 0 at the end. And then that one will come down. The unit will have to come down and you take it away and you get your final answer. Let's try another exercise so that you can do the rest. Okay, in the same way again, units and tens. I have 4 tens, that gives me 40. And I have 2 tens, that gives me 20. And the units there is a 0 and I have a 8 alone there on the units. So if now I have a 40 and a 20, there is a 0 and a 0, then that 0 just comes down there. And I'm remaining with a 4 and a 2. 4 minus 2 is what? Is 20. Is a 2. So I have a 20 there, sorry. It's a 2. With that 0, it's a 20. Now, what is short there? The 8 is alone there. It must just come down. Are we together? Okay, it comes down. Now I can continue taking it away. 20, take away 8. What will be the answer? The answer will be 12. That is how they got the 12. So this method is very easy, it's very simple, because we don't need to be carrying over and putting there and carrying over and putting there. We just first work out the numbers with the place values and we end there. So in the same way, following the examples that I have given you, please do the rest. Okay. While still on page 12, there are two more exercises there. Remember, we did the even numbers and the odd numbers. Do you still remember? The even numbers, what are they? The even numbers are those numbers that we are counting in two. When we count in two, the numbers that we are calling out, those are what we call even numbers. And the other way of getting an even number, if the numbers are too big, it will be difficult for you to count until that number. So what you have to check for a 0, a 2, a 4, a 6, and a 8 at the end of a number. If that number is ending with a 0, with a 2, with a 4, with a 6, with a 8, then that number is an even number. You don't need to count until that big number. You just check the end, the number which is at the end of that number. Then you circle it. Okay, so on the first one there, identify the even numbers and underline them for me, please. And the next exercise, which is the last one on this page, is about the odd numbers. Now, what about the odd numbers? Remember, the numbers that we skip when we are counting in two, they are our odd numbers. And what is the other way of identifying an odd number? If the number is too big, I can't count it and I can't call it properly. I just have to check the last number on the number. If the number is too big, you just check at the end. What is the ending number there? Is it a 1? Is it a 3? Is it a 5, a 7, or a 9? If at the end is having all these numbers that I have called, then you know it's an odd number. You don't need to count. So please identify for me the odd numbers on these numbers which are under there and underline it for me. All right? Okay. Let's move over to page 13. On page 13, we have problems. Remember what I have advised you to do whenever you are doing the word sums. The problems are word sums. You have to read first the problem and understand it. After you have read it, then you will be able to know what operation sign am I to use. Are we together? Okay, let's do the first one. There were 103 camels standing on a hill. 20 camels walked away. How many camels are left on the hill? What do you understand about that statement? They are telling us how many camels were standing on the hill? 103. And then what happened? Then 20 of them walked away. So meaning what? How many camels are left on the hill? What operation sign are we to use on that statement? I think we have to minus. We have to subtract because the other ones walked away and the other ones were remaining. So you count the ones that have remained. That is your answer. So you have to minus. Take away 103 minus 20. You go to the second one. Rita had 120 marbles. She then gave 62 marbles to Tony. How many marbles does Rita have left? She was first having 120 marbles. And she decided to give to Tony how many? 62. So how many marbles is she still left with? So what is the operation sign there again? It's still subtraction. We minus because we take away. She has taken away from her marbles and gave to Tony. Okay, so I want you to read the next one and up to the last one. You read with understanding and you find out the operation sign that you will use there. Remember to keep a distance from other people of 1 meter or 1.5 and to sanitize your hands always. Rub it through into your fingers, behind and on the other hand. Now we'll call our friend Zoshi to say goodbye.
Hi everyone, My name is Yoshi, I'm back. And you can always stay active throughout the lockdown. You can play with your friends, but keep your distance. Like me and my friend, yay! And you can also jog and sing to be active. Until next time, bye!
Thank you very much, Teacher Mudabeti, for that great lesson. So today, our grade 2 and 3 learners learned all about masses, 2D shapes, and addition. So now, just because you're special, I'm adding another lesson for our grade 4 and 5 learners. So today we have week 6, lesson 6.
Welcome to my Zone Online School. My name is P.S. Akanime and welcome Shaniel. Let's sanitize our hands. Shaniel, we clean our hands and then we consider distance, social distance. Our lesson for today is lesson 6, multiplication and division. Our lesson for today is on page 10, lesson 6, mathematics, and our topic for today is computation, which is multiplications and division. The competency for grade 4 are as follows. The learner should be able to use the following terminology in context: times, equal sharing, divided by, multiplied by, product, and quotient. Second competency is the learner should recall multiplication and division, facts of the 10 times 10 multiplication tables. Number 3, learner should multiply up to 3-digit numbers by a 1-digit number with answer less than or equal to 10,000 using any formal or informal paper and pencil method. Number 4, the learner should divide a 2-digit number by a number from 1 up to 10 with or without a remainder. The basic competency for grade 5. The learner should be able to use the following terminology in context: times, equal sharing, divided by, multiplied by, product, and quotient. Second competency, learner should recall multiplication and division, facts of the 12 times 12 multiplication table. The third competency, learner should be able to multiply up to 3-digit numbers by 2-digit number with answer less than or equal to 100,000 using any formal or informal paper and pencil method. Last competency, the learner should divide 3- and 4-digit numbers by a number from 1 to 10 with or without a remainder using any formal or informal paper and the pencil method. The terminology to be used for today as follow. But before we go for the terminology, we need to know what are terminologies. The terminologies are words that tell us when we should add, subtract, multiply, or divide numbers. These terminologies are times, equal sharing, divided by, multiplied by product and quotient. Okay, we have a short multiplication sums here. For example, 12 times 5. What is our answer? 60. 6 times 7. What is the answer? 42. 9 times 9. What is our answer? 81. And 5 times 5, which is equal to 25. Yes, boys and girls, let's quickly go on page 11 with long multiplication. Every multiplication, sum has a bigger number and a smaller number. We use these two numbers and multiply it with each other. The bigger number is written on top and the smaller number at the bottom. Each of these numbers also has a name in a multiplication sum. The bigger number is known as a multiplicand, and the smaller number is known as the multiplier. And the answer is known as the product. Boys and girls, let's go for the first example, whereby we have 352. And this number, we call it a multiplicand. And then the smaller number, which is 9, we call it a multiplier. So we need to multiply these two numbers so that we can get our product. Good. Boys and girls, let's start with 2 times 9. And then we can get, what is our answer? Is 18. We write 8, we write the 8, and we take over the 1. Good. The next step, take 5 times 9. 5 times 9, what is our answer? Is 45. 45 plus the 1 here. And then we can get 46. We are not writing the 46 in full, but we take over the 4. The next step, we take 3 times 9, which is 27. And plus the 27, we add the 4 up here. And then we write the 31 in full. So 3,168, this is our product. Thank you. Boys and girls, we are on page 11. We have example 524 times 23. In this example, we see the multiplier is 2-digit. When you have a multiplier with 2 digits, we multiply the multiplicand with each digit 1 by 1 in the multiplier. In the example, you will first multiply the multiplicand with the 3. Then after, you will multiply the multiplicand with the 2. We need to remember, when we multiply with a 2, it's not a 2, but 20. Because it's a 20, we will write down a 0 in the unit place, and this will indicate I'm multiplying with 20. After multiplying with a 2, we end up the numbers to give us our product. Good, boys and girls, let's go on the board. We have 524. We multiply it with 23. We start to multiply with the first digit. Okay, we start with 4 times 3, which is 12. We write the 2 here, and then we carry over a 1. Good. Next step, 2 times 3, which is 6. And then we add on the 7 up here. We write our answer, which is 7. Good. Next step is 5 times 3. What is our answer? Is 15. Then we write our 15 down there. Good. We are done with the first digit. We go to the second digit, which is 2 times 4. What is 2 times 4? Is 8. And then we write our number here, which is 8. Now, remember, we have a placeholder here, which is 0. We put our 0 there. Good. The next one is 2 times 2, which is 4. We write down our 4 there. The next one is 5 times 2, which is 10. Then we write down our 10 in full. Underline for us to get our product. Remember the sign up here next to it. Good. We start to add the numbers together. What is 2 plus 0 is 2. 7 plus 8. 7 plus 8 is 15. We write our 5 and then carry over the 1. And then 1 plus 5 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. We write our 0 there, carry over the 1. Good. Now we have 1 plus 1 plus 0. What is our answer? Which is 2. And then what will happen with our 1? We bring down our 1 here. So that is our product. This is what we call our product, which is 12,052. Boys and girls, let's go on page 12 with division. Short division sum. Example 1. We have 42 divided by 7. And what is our answer? 6. Number 2. We have 81 divided by 9. What is the answer? 9. Third example. 12 divided by 6. What is our answer? 2. The last example, we have 72 divided by 9. What is the answer? 8. Good. Long division. In a long division problem, each number has a specific name. The bigger number is known as divided, and the smaller number is known as divisor. The answer is known as a quotient, and what remains is known as a remainder. A division sum also has steps that we need to follow. Step 1, division. Step 2, multiplication. Step 3, subtractions. And then the last step, we should bring down the numbers. These steps are repeated every time until the sum cannot be divided anymore. Boys and girls, let's get on board. Let's work out 1,256 divided by 5. Let's work it out step by step. The first step that we need to take is division. How many times 5 goes in 12? What is our answer? Is 2. Good, we write our 2 on top there. The next step, we need to multiply. We take 2 times 5. 2 times 5, what is our answer? Is 10. And we write our 10 down there. Good. We subtract, and next up, we take 12 minus 10. What is our answer? Is 2. We write our 2 down there. Good. The next one, how many times 2 goes in 5? It can't. Then our solution is we bring down the 5. Now we have 25. And we can say how many times 5 goes in 25. How many times? 5 times. We write our 5 up there. Good. The next step is multiplication. We take 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. We write our 25 down there. And then, remember, the next step is subtraction. Then, 25 minus 25, here we got 0. And we write our 0 there. What is the next step? Because we have another digit which is not used. We bring down the 6. We write our 6 there. Good. Then we need to divide again. 6 divided by 5, we got 1. Where should we write our 1? Up there. We write our 1 there. The next step is multiplication, whereby we make 1 times 5. What is our answer? Is 5. Where should we write our 5? Up there. We write it down there. And remember, the next step is subtraction. Good. Subtraction, we take 6 minus 5. What is our answer? 1. Where should we write our 1? Down here. It's a 1. Good. Then 1 cannot be divided by 5 anymore, and that's become a remainder. Boys and girls, let's go on page 13. We have 1,256. That number is the dividend. And the 5 is the divisor. 251, that is our answer, which is known as quotient. And the 1 is the remainder. Good. Boys and girls, I want you to go through the next example. And I want you to do it step by step. Good. Boys and girls, let's look to the activity. The first one, it says, calculate the following multiplication sum. For the grade 4 level, I want you to work it out. 315 times 7. And B, 246 times 9. Please, boys and girls, work it out step by step. The grade 5 learners, please work out the following. 471 times 23. D, 314 times 42. Those are 2 digits. Number 2, I want you to calculate the following division sum. The grade 4 learners, work out 2,421 divided by 7. And B, 3,541 divided by 10. Boys and girls, thank you so much. Boys and girls, I hope you enjoy the lesson for today. Let's sanitize our hands and remember social distance. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, my name is Yoshi, I'm back, and you can always stay active throughout the lockdown. You can play with your friends, but keep your distance. Like me and my friend, yay! And you can also jog and sing to be active. Until next time, Bye!
Thank you very much, Teacher Akanime, for that great math lesson. So today we learned all about division and multiplication. So now grade 6 learners, I hope you are also ready for your math lesson, week 6, lesson 6.
Welcome to My Zone Online School. My name is Ismail Topoli, and also welcome to Pamwene. Boys and girls, please remember to always sanitize your hands. Also make sure that your social distance is intact, all right? And lastly, make sure that you always wear your mask. So today we'll do the topic of factors. All right, let's go to page 10. Now let's look at the learning objectives. The learning objectives is to know factors and their property. Their competencies is to determine the factors of any number up to 100. For example, the factors of 24 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24 itself. But we will look deeper into this topic today. All right, so let's see, what is a factor? A factor is a number that can go into a certain number without a remainder. Okay? There is a factor. Now, let's quickly look at some of the factors that we can discover. Let's look at the number 8. What we want to find out is we want to find out numbers that can go into 8 without a remainder. That's what we want to do. Let's start them off one by one. We're not going to consider 0, although I wrote there 0, but just for you to know that 0 also exists. But let's start with 1. Now 1 goes into any number, all right? So 1 is a factor of any number, be it 100, 24, whatsoever. So 1 is a factor of 8. Let's look at 2. If I say, we will make jumps of 2, okay? So 2, 4, 6, and 8. So what do you notice? 2 is a factor of 8. All right. Now let's look at the next number, which is 3. Okay, so 3, 6. What do you notice? 3 is not a factor of 8. Now let's look at 4. 4, and then another jump of 4 will be 8. So 4 is a factor of 8. 5, what do you think? Pamwene, do you think 5 is a factor of 8? No. No. All right, can you see? It's not a factor of 8. Even 6 is not a factor of 8. 7 is not a factor of 8. except 8. 8 is a factor of 8. All right? Matter of fact, whenever you are asked to find factors, 1 and that number itself is always a factor of that number. What I mean, 1 and 8, they will always be there. Okay? All right. Now, I want us to look at something. Here we have a number 18. All right? Now, what I want us to discover is what we call factor pairs. Okay? Now, before we go into the depths of that, what I want Pamone to do for me is the following. Pamone, find out for me, starting from big to small, what are the factors of 18? 1. Okay, 1. What else? 2. 2. 3. 6. 9. 18. And 18. Now, there's a reason why I want it written out like this. As I said, what we want to do is factor pairs. Now, I want you to look at this. Pamone, what is 1 times 18? So what does that mean? It means 1 and 18 are factor pairs. All right? So we have 1 and 18. Okay? So, Pamone, what is 2 times 9? 18. It's 18 again. So, another factor pair will be 2 and 9. And lastly, what is 3 times 6? 18. It's 18 again. So, 3 and 6 are factor pairs of 18. All right. So that is what we call factor pairs. All right. Now let's go to page 11. And then let's just look at that example so that we can see how do we handle this topic. Okay, so we are going to look at discovering the highest common factor. But before we come to discovering the highest common factor, there are certain things that we need to know, like factors and common factors, and that is what we are going to explain now. So, let's quickly look on the chalkboard. So here I have the number 12 and the number 18, okay? Now, the first thing I need to do is to find their factors. We're going to find their factors from big to small. Pamone, can you help me on this one? 1. Oh, okay, good. 1 is always there. Next? 2. 2. Okay, 2. What else? 3. 3. And then? 4. 6. Okay, I thought you would say 5. We are not counting. 6, yes. And 12. Good. Smart boy. Okay, let's go to 18. What about 18? 1. And then 2. And then 3. And then 6. Then 9. And then 18. All right, now, by doing that, we have already answered question A. Do you realize that? Because question A says, find all the factors of 12 and 18. Okay, now, what is our next mission? Is to discover all the common factors of 12 and 18. Now, what is common? If something is common, it means it appears in both sets. All right? Here we have a set of 12, factors of sets of 12, and here we have factors, a set of factors of 18. Okay? Now, I'm going to help me here. Which of these factors are common? In other words, that appear here and also there. 1. What else? 2. And then? 3. And then? 6. What else? That's it. Okay. So by that, we are done with number B, because we have discovered all the common factors of 12 and 18. Now C says, find the highest common factor. In other words, the biggest number among the common factors. All right? I always like saying, find the factor that is common, that is the highest. Now, when we look at these common factors, which one is the highest? 6. It is 6. So 6 is our highest common factor. Okay? So, now that we have done that, I want us to quickly look at our activities. Activity number 1 says, identify the factor pairs of A is 24 and B is 36. Now, if you look on the chalkboard, what you will notice is exactly this work that we did with Pamwene, this one. All right? Like how we discovered the factor pairs of 18. Now what you need to do is to discover the factor pairs of A, 24, and B, 36. All right. Number 2. List the factors of 3, 5, and then which is A, and then B, which is 48, and then C, which is 72. Now this is quite easy. Remember we did this also on the chalkboard? Let's look on the chalkboard. It's the same way how we did it here. Our first activity. You basically just list them. Okay, you just list them. Take your time, you don't need to rush. Discover, make sure that you find all the factors. Okay? And then on the next page, which is page 12, now you will notice that question 3 and question 4, they are similar. Okay? In question 3, it says, consider the numbers 12 and 20. And then as we did before, you remember, you find all the factors of 12 and 20. And then what you do next? You discover all the common factors. And then lastly, you find the highest common factor. And that is what you do for number 3 as well as for number 4. At number 4, you discover also you discover all the factors of 24 and 54. All right? And then you do the same thing. You find all the factors, you find the common factors, and you also make sure you find the highest common factor. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and you are going to enjoy it. And like I said, factors takes time to discover. So take your time, don't rush through it. Make sure you find all the factors, and boys and girls, all the best. right, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed that lesson. Now, before we leave, I just want to remind you, remember to always sanitize your hands. Remember social distance. Okay? Don't forget your mask. Very important. Okay? So until we meet next time, goodbye.
Hi everyone, my name is Yoshi, I'm back, and you can always stay active throughout the lockdown. You can play with your friends, but keep your distance. Like me and my friend, yay! And you can also jog and sing to be active. Until next time, bye!
Thank you very much, teacher Ntopoli, for that great lesson on factors. So that's it for our lessons for today. I hope you have learned as much as I did. So now, before I say goodbye, we will be checking in with our regions. And today we are visiting Mr. Silas Mulongeni, who's an inspector in the Oshona region. And we'll also be sharing some footage taken in the Oshona and Umusati regions. So that's it from us for today. Please remember to stay active and sanitize. Bye!
Right, this is Silas Mulongeni. I'm the Inspector of Education responsible for Eheke in Oshana region. Yeah, our circuit received the learning materials from Namibia Media Holdings. We got for pre-primary to grade 1, week 1 and week 2, as well as grade 2 and 3, also week 1 and week 2. We also received for grade 4 and 5, as well as grade 6 and 7. But for grade 6 and 7, they were just delivered yesterday. Yeah, most of the materials were dispatched to schools, because once we received the consignment here, we immediately text the school principals to come and pick for their schools. So only maybe a few schools that did not pick so far, the last consignment, but most of the schools they used to come immediately, or if the materials are delivered in the afternoon, they can pick in the morning when they are going to schools. Yeah, so far schools are saying parents are coming to pick the materials for the children, because the arrangement made is that parents should come collect the learning materials from schools to avoid learners or children to come in big numbers and start praying on the way, because you know they like praying, because some of them they missed their friends. So to avoid that, then parents have to come. Of course, here and there, some few parents are complaining about the distance walking. You know, some of them are very old, and then walking is a challenge to them. And also it is time for harvesting. Majority of them are now busy with the harvesting of mahangu from their fields. It's also another challenge, but anyway, they are trying their level best. Most of them really, they understand that it's really important to collect materials for the children to continue learning while at home. Like those ones are already counted. They're ready for the schools to pick. Yeah. Also, this one's like this is school did not to come. Also, those ones there. Some of these ones they just came yesterday in the afternoon.
So as you can see, the same thing is being done here at Elim Circuit in the Musati region. The circuit officers receive the booklets and divide them amongst the schools in the circuit, which will then be ready for pickup by the school principals.